I had a conversation this afternoon with an old friend of mine who's still like MAGA, but he's a nice guy and he means well. He just yeah. And I asked him about the tariffs and how he felt, and he goes, "Well, it's going to be a little pain, but he knows what he's doing, and he's making deals with all these countries and blah blah blah." I was like, do you think he could have done it in a better way, like a more productive way that didn't have as much collateral damage? And he goes, yeah, but the collateral damage is like, he's right. I mean, kids are too spoiled these days. They need to learn how to be okay with just two dolls. And I'm like sitting here and I'm like, and this guy's a real estate guy, so go figure. But I asked him, I said, do you think it's fair that people in other countries lost their careers like 2 hours after a tweet, a Truth Social post? He's like, oh, that didn't happen. I said, less than 2 hours after his Truth Social post about tariffs, the largest auto manufacturer in Canada closed its doors and fired 3,600 employees. That happened all over the world in different ways, different sized companies. So yeah, it absolutely did happen. Do you think that's fair? Oh, no, that's not fair. He goes, so do you think there was a better way for him to negotiate? And then he goes, well, what would you suggest? And I said, well, it's simple. He said, if he thinks China's getting a better deal, maybe he and all the other billionaires that have their companies having shit manufactured in China should have paid a little bit extra and had it manufactured in America. Or maybe they should have started a manufacturing company themselves. They had enough money. I mean, there's other ways they could have gone. But our reliance on China is because everybody trying to get everything as cheap as they possibly could. So manufacturing is China's game. We had the distribution for that massive contract for the biggest country of manufacturing in this world. The United States was the hub of the distribution. That is a shit ton of money into this country just for handling shipping, basically. We were also the biggest, most reliable trade partner of literally every country on earth in one way or another. I mean, we bought steel, we buy steel, we had relationships set up with Africa because they are the ones in the lead of the digital technology, Australia, and all these other places. We had these amazing, situations set up where we would help them with funding for stuff like through the world USAID. That organization would fund research in certain countries, and these countries, as a thank you for us helping them with maybe research or testing for disease or AIDS or whatever, treatments or what have you, for us to be able to just simply help them, put us in a position to be the first in line as the main hub for what technology they are going to be in the lead on in the next 5 to 10 years. That's the digital stuff. That's Africa. I mean, that's bottom line. So the soft power that the United States has had through the programs that were defunded because USAID and Doge and Trump said so, those programs funded research into cancer drugs and Alzheimer's medications and life-saving stuff that these research projects were on the brink of breakthroughs, and many of them, when funding is cut, their research has to stop. So their specimens that have been going for years and years and years and years are in danger. If they go bad and research can't continue, they have to start over from scratch. These are medical breakthroughs. These are the ramifications of this bullshit that Donald Trump is doing. And the problem with him not recognizing and the Republicans not recognizing the ramifications of these fucking actions is America is losing in the long term. With starting a fight with China, they sent 200,000 empty shipping containers as a fuck you to Donald Trump for what should have been paid for product. They didn't get anything. the shelves are going to go, they're going to go bare. They're going to be empty. And that's just the way it is. And I'm talking to this guy, and he's talking about how, we need to just tighten in our belts and this, that, and the other thing. I said, wasn't the whole problem with Joe Biden that it was too expensive and eggs were too expensive, and wasn't that the main reason Trump was elected? I mean, why did you elect him? And he goes, well, he's a brilliant businessman, and he's, we need to renegotiate the tariff section and the structure, and but when he started getting all Republican talking point, Fox Business level. And I just tried to just spell out to him. I was like, so you think there's way too much money being spent in government? Absolutely. And I think, Doge may have gone a little overboard. I said, you think canceling Social Security payments and, laying off hundreds of thousands of veterans from veterans, hospitals are that was a good idea? And he's like, well, that's all fake. That didn't really happen. I said, oh, but actually it did. And I started pointing to all this stuff, and his wife's standing right there, and she's trying to speak up. And they're a nice couple, but they drank a lot of the same Kool-Aid, and they do not listen to any other news source but these ones that agree with them. And that is the big problem we're facing, because I'm the fact that other people's lives being affected in such drastic ways doesn't even click to them really is something I want to go, did you hear what I just said? What if you worked for that car manufacturer and the president of another country that actually has nothing to do with your country besides trade shit tweeted and you got fired? And you've had that job for 30 years, 20 years. How pissed off would you be? And it still doesn't register. That makes me worry about, like, what happened to humanity in general. What happened to the unity side of the United States of America? What happened to the rising tide lifting all boats? What happened to actually wanting this country to be better for everybody, which is what it's supposed to be? Accepting of everybody. We're all immigrants in one way or another. Except the natives, and see how well they're treated? This country was built on mistakes. Mistakes that over time tried to be rectified, some too well, some not good enough. The bottom line is the mistakes help people grow. When you make a mistake and people are hurt through the native genocide, the slavery, all the things that the Republicans are trying to ban the books on and defund the Smithsonian, Harvard, going after higher education, teaching people to think for themselves. They're trying to ban everything that ever shows that America ever made a mistake, because if no one's ever made a mistake, you don't ever have to apologize, and you do whatever the hell your boss tells you to do, because you're too stupid to realize that you should not be fucking doing that. But if you have a society full of people who are taught by some of the greatest minds in this country, in this world, at places like Harvard and places like Princeton and places like, Columbia and places like that, those other perspectives, even though you don't, just hearing them teach doesn't mean you follow them like, a cult, like putting a gold face of them on your lapel or something, or their same hat. It's not like that type of thing. This is a teacher at Harvard, but, there's a problem at Harvard because, if Barron can't get in, then it shouldn't be good enough. And if it's not good enough, by all means, cut their funding, tell them that they have to do the curriculum you say, because obviously they're not smart enough to handle Barron, an accelerated C student like his dad, nothing money can't solve. New gymnasium, I think, got him into Wharton Business School. I don't know, allegedly. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, but what we should be realizing right now is the beauty of the reality of what's being exposed. And that no matter what happens, as we watch all this shit show unfold, as they try and take the most cherished rights away from all Americans, including those who voted on them, we get the joy of saying, hey, are you fucking with us yet? Because you assholes are the reasons he's here. The only way we're going to stop this is united. The only way we're going to stop this is together. And if you look around the world, you will notice everybody's rising up. That 99% is being counted for. And it doesn't matter how much money, how much power, how much whatever 1% has. 99% has quite a bit more. Stay diligent, stay educated, and be kind, ladies and gentlemen. We are all in this together.